I'm Travis.
And I'm Emma.
What's the last song you listened to?
Unfortunately, the truth is it was Don't by Bryson Tiller.
If I'm being 1,000% honest, I don't even know if I remember that song.
Oh, well, we can't get copyrighted if I sing it. So it's the one that like has the huge, like a super long build up, and then he goes, don't. And then it's like, don't play with her, don't be dishonest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I do remember this. My last song was Attention by Kesha, Slater, and Rose Gray. And
so much more cunt than mine.
It is. And what I have to believe happened was Kesha went into a lab and said, I know what the gays need this summer. And then they just built this song in a lab.
The idea of Kesha and Slater knowing each other is so incredible to me.
I have a feeling they're like, you know how you're pinned at the top of my iMessage?
Yeah.
I have a feeling they're pinned at the top of each other's. Oh, yeah.
Like they text daily. For sure.
We have a lot this week also. Where do you want to start?
Yeah. Okay, well, let's just say last week we had listeners from all over the globe.
We did.
All over. And we've cracked 100 listeners.
Finally.
We've made it.
So this, in the grand scheme of podcasting, means so little, but we cracked 100 listeners. And like, there's this, like where I upload the podcast every week, it like gives you analytics of like where the listens are coming from. So 90% of our listeners are in the United States, like scattered across the country. But we have listeners in the United Kingdom, Malaysia, Russia. We have listeners in Ireland, Switzerland, Australia, Finland, Egypt, Germany, and the Netherlands.
Yay!
Like, how wild is that?
My Deutsch people. Yeah, it's beautiful. I love that. We're going on a world tour.
Listen, I'm ready.
Yeah, tomorrow. Starting tomorrow.
Maybe when we get 200 listeners.
My pregnancy update is also my complaint. So however you want to do that.
You tell me. Go buck wild.
I am now, well, tomorrow I'll be 16 weeks pregnant.
That is wild.
I know. Which makes the baby the size of an avocado and like 5 inches long. Which is beautiful and amazing, and his ears are in the right place, and he has eyeballs. It's great. His bones have ossified or whatever. Beautiful. We are not ever shitting on the miracle of pregnancy. However, what is getting a little old to me is like, okay, so like regardless of how you want to put it, if you don't start your pregnancy with a flat tummy, it looks like you're just getting bigger for a while before you like round out, which is beautiful and great. You need to have space for your baby. But like anytime I try to complain about that, people are like, you're pregnant. It's the miracle of childbirth. And I'm like, okay, I don't look pregnant really. I look like I ate a large dinner and a large breakfast and a large lunch. So, I don't know. That's my complaint, because there really is no winning side. Because if someone were to call me fat, I would be like, I'm pregnant! But when I complain about feeling fat, there's also like nothing I can do about it. You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain that.
I hear what you're saying. You're in a, not in a weird space, but like I think you're in a weird headspace with where your body's at and like how it's changing.
Yeah, and I feel like body dysmorphia is pretty common in pregnancy.
Oh, it's gotta be, yeah.
Yeah, especially for people like me. Like my weight has fluctuated a lot in my adulthood, and so it's like I don't know, it's like triggering almost to like get bigger, because it's not just your stomach either. Like everything gets bigger. Yeah, and it's beautiful and amazing, and it will result in the most beautiful baby and all of that. Yes. But in the time being, I'm like, wow.
A couple things. One, I don't think you look big. Like you look like a normal size for someone who is. I don't know what a normal size is for someone who's 16 weeks pregnant. But if you said to me this is what normal size looks like for 16 weeks, I would wholeheartedly believe that.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, I used to be on the heavier side, and so I know it can also be triggering to hear someone my size, like pretty normal size, be like, I feel fat. Like, that's so triggering. But at the same time, this is my experience.
That's fair.
Like,
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that being your
yeah,
experience. I
I
mean,
don't
if
know.
you're being honest about it.
And I also think I carried Jack really low, and I'm also carrying this baby really low. And so,
As opposed to what?
like, instead of my belly button, let's say, like, going straight out forward, it's underneath my belly button that is getting bigger, which is a very triggering area for me, like, area of my body. I don't know how to explain that. So, like, early in pregnancy, the baby is, like, in your pelvis. And so it's not like the middle of your stomach is, like, popping out and you're a perfect, beautiful watermelon.
Sure.
It's the bottom of your stomach that kind of pops out first, especially for me. That's just how it's been.
Okay.
And so it's like, it's giving big fupa, you know?
No, it's not. I promise it's not.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be honest with you. Like, if you asked me if it was, it's not. I promise.
Yeah, it's like a body dysmorphia thing. But like, even I can't show you all, but I'm gonna show Travis on my app. It kind of shows where a baby is, and it like makes sense for how I'm feeling. Like, do you see what I mean? It's like lower than you think.
Yeah, I guess like knowing that the baby comes out of your vagina, that makes sense that it would be there, but like
When you see a pregnant girl, you're like, oh, the baby's like up in the middle of her belly.
right.
But that's not like true, especially when the baby's still small.
But I also think a lot of that is like it pushing the rest of your body outwards, like because the baby like sits under all that, right?
Yeah, your intestines like move around, and your liver does, I think. There are a bunch of things that like move around, and you're out of breath because there's more pressure on your
On your
diaphragm.
lungs, yeah.
Yeah.
I just like that I'm not
Yeah.
gonna ever experience that.
I know. It must be beautiful to be a male.
It is.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway, so I guess I'll complain. And my complaint had to be changed this week. We're still going to talk about what I was going to complain about, but I have a problem this week with people that ride tandem bikes. Who are you doing that for? Who is that for? Why are we doing that?
For love.
I would argue that you're putting on a show for the world that doesn't need to be seen.
I hear that. I do. I feel like it's the same way I feel about Valentine's Day. Like,
yes.
yeah,
exactly
we
the
disagree
same.
about Valentine's Day too. I love Valentine's Day, and I love tandem bikes, and I love love. I love love. I love people showing their love outwardly. I think it's beautiful. But complain away.
So I was pulling out of my driveway this morning to come to your house, and these people were just riding by on a tandem bike. You're swerving all over the road. You can't be happy.
I don't know. There was a couple in my old neighborhood growing up that always rode around on their tandem bike, and they looked so in love and happy, and they did not swerve all over the road. So maybe it's a test of your love if you can like keep the tandem bike
Maybe.
straight.
Okay, so maybe these people weren't doing it right, but I can definitively tell you, unless it's with you, I will never ride a tandem bike. I don't want to do that. I'm not into it. I hate it. I hate everything about it.
I think it's cute. Have I ever ridden on a tandem bike? No. So I'm sure there are factors at play that I am not aware of. But for the most part, I think they're cute.
Okay. I won't take that away from
I think
you.
it's a show of affection.
And dear listener, what you must know is that there are not a lot of things Emma and I disagree on. Emma could turn against just about anything, and turn with her, I will. I will 99.5% of the time be on her side. This is just one of those takes where we're not on the same page, and that's okay.
I think people mostly agree with you, though. I would say I'm probably
in the minority.
Yeah.
Good.
100%. Because I know I am about Valentine's Day. Because everywhere I've ever gone in my life, I hate Valentine's Day. Anti-Valentine's Day party.
It's not even that I want to be anti-Valentine's Day. It's like, I want it to be a non-thing. I get, like, when you're in a relationship and it's your first Valentine's Day, I'll give you that. That's fine.
I'll stop you right there. I love Valentine's Day, even when I'm single. Even when I'm single. Even if I'm bitter about being single, I still love Valentine's Day because there are still people I love.
You're
I just
sick.
Celebrate my friends, my family. I love you so much. Here's some candy. I love it.
We just did that 4 minutes ago in your candy bowl. It wasn't Valentine's
But
Day.
They weren't heart-shaped, and it wasn't for Valentine's Day. Okay, and here's the thing I have about the argument, because I know what people are thinking. If you love someone, you should show them you love them every single day, and Valentine's Day shouldn't be special. Do you have that argument for Mother's Day? If you love your mother,
I certainly don't.
You should. Well, yeah. Travis aside, Father's Day. Then, you appreciate your father every day of the year. Yes, right. But do you not tell him Happy Father's Day? Okay, that's what I thought. It's the same idea for Valentine's Day. Just because you love someone all the time doesn't mean you can't have one special day where you show it a little extra.
Okay, we'll revisit this in February when we do our Valentine's Day special, and you can you can have this all you want. I want you to live in love. Just know I hate everything about Valentine's Day. I hate the consumerism of it. I hate
That is true.
I hate you have to be in a relationship for Valentine's Day. I hate if you want to go out to dinner and you're not thinking to yourself, "Oh God, it's going to be February 14th." You have to make reservations months in advance.
I don't like the fact that it's like it was invented by Hallmark, and that like people feel like they have to spend hundreds of dollars and plan for months for it. That you're kind of losing the spirit for me a little bit. But mostly I love Valentine's Day.
I wish people put that same level of energy into like their anniversaries, and like that's where the energy for Valentine's Day went. That's what I wish.
Do you know what we've done? Because I love Valentine's Day, my anniversary is on Valentine's Day.
I'm gonna kill myself.
I love Valentine's Day.
How did I not know that?
I don't know. Well, because it doesn't really matter, because my birthday is February 1st, and then Kenny's is February 11th. And then Valentine's Day is on the 14th. So we just make it one big celebration. That's like when we went to Mexico, it was for that. When we went on a cruise, it was for that. We always do at least like a fancy dinner or something. Yeah.
I love that.
We call it B-Day V-Day. It's very cute. I love love.
I don't want to go on anymore. So speaking of love, I sent Emma a TikTok earlier that's been making its way around TikTok, and I've seen a couple of reactions to it, and I'm curious how, Emma, you feel about this, and how, listener, you feel about this. This girl went with her boyfriend, fiance, whatever we're going to call him, because we're going to get into what he's called in the video that is awful. Like, I would argue that I hate it.
It's an old-fashioned thing.
I hate it.
I hate it too. I really do. So this girl goes and she says, I went with my honey, my sweetheart, to the jewelry store to pick out my wedding ring, or my engagement ring. Mm-hmm. And they design it. They do the whole song and dance. And they say to her, do you want to get the warranty on it?
She says, yeah, of course we want to get the warranty on it. No big deal. They say, okay, great. We're going to send you emails every 6 months to remind you to clean the ring and to like come in and like get the bracket things or the prongs like serviced or whatever.
Yeah.
She gives them her email to put on file for that. Mm-hmm. I guess as a result, she also started getting the order confirmations saying, hey, the ring has been ordered. Hey, the ring is, like, the final payment was made for the ring. And then in one or both of the emails that she got, she received pictures of the final product of the ring that she helped design.
Right, like she picked it out and she told them what she wanted. If anything, she should be glad she got those pictures. We'll get into it.
Well, so she's on here on TikTok saying they ruined the surprise. They took the element of surprise away from it. And I'm like, you knew you were getting engaged.
So here's how I feel about this woman, right? Number one, like you said, she knows she's getting engaged.
Uh-huh.
Like she already knew that. Number two, if you designed a ring yourself and you had specifications for how you wanted it to look, what shape diamond, all of that, wouldn't you want pictures to make sure your vision has come to life? And number three, if you didn't want anything to be spoiled, if you didn't want these emails, give them your man's email address.
So that, and I guess I didn't even think about like the picture piece of it. My thing is like, you knew you were going to the jewelry store. You knew you were planning a wedding. You knew at some point between going to the jeweler and your wedding date, you would be proposed to. Right? So it feels like she's looking for a reason to be mad. It feels like attention-seeking behavior on the internet. To take it one step further, she goes on to say, no amount of money is going to make us feel better. Okay, then what are you doing here? Like, tell me what you're doing right here on the internet, where you've turned off Stitch's duets and comments to your TikTok.
That's because a bunch of people called her out on her own bullshit.
Right. Everyone has a right to feel exactly how they want to feel about any situation, but I think about the person whose wedding you and I talk about a lot, and I know this is something that she would have done, where she was an absolute demon monster the entire time we were getting ready for her wedding. And listener, one day we will open up about the Las Vegas bachelorette party and the events that led up to a wedding where that was probably one of the last times I spoke to someone who I considered to be one of my best friends. But it comes to the point with this individual who posted this TikTok where I wish she just would have said, God, I overreacted to that. At least I'm getting married. At least I have someone that loves me, my honey, my sweetheart. And let me just tell you something else. When someone says my honey, my sweetheart, when referring to their significant other, it makes me, like, I have a visceral reaction to it. I hate it so much.
It just kind of gives me the ick. But I also feel like a more honest version of that video is her coming to terms with the fact that she regrets being part of the planning process for her engagement. And that I completely understand, because I feel like she's projecting feelings she has about not feeling surprised when she got engaged.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
And really, it's because she planned everything and went with her honey to do everything. And she's projecting it on the jeweler. Like, they could have done something, or like they didn't warn her. But it's like, it's okay to just go on TikTok and be like, hey, ladies, don't recommend designing your own engagement ring if you're like me.
Yeah.
That's a whole different thing.
But the other piece of it, too, is like, she gets on there and she's like, we've been waiting. So the couple had been together for 7 years, and she's like, I've been waiting 7 years for this, we've been waiting 7 years for this, and I've been waiting 27 years for this. And I'm like, oh, get off the cross, Mary. Like, what are we doing?
I do understand. As little girls, we are trained to look forward to our wedding. That's the long and short of it. And so it does feel like you've been waiting 27 years for this. I get it. But, like, you gave the jeweler your email address. Jewelers are not new to the engagement process. So I guarantee she didn't get an email saying, your ring has been picked up. Your engagement is happening on this day. Wear white, bitch. Like, that's not what they did.
I believe the story has been embellished. One of two things has happened. The story's been embellished a little bit to make it seem like it was more of a ruin to the surprise than anything else. Or B, she put her email in every box that could receive an email, so she would have complete control over this process. And I'm willing to believe it was number 2. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's where we're at.
Because logically, if Kenny takes me to design a ring, he's like, you're picky, I want you to like it, I really want you to design it. I am never giving that jeweler my contact information.
No.
If you need payment, if it needs cleaned, if you want a review, talk to my man.
Yes.
He's buying it.
I agree.
So I feel like maybe she just got a little type A over the ring situation, and now she regrets it. And it would be one thing, like I said, for her to hop on Twitter and say, I regret doing that.
Yeah.
But that's not what she did. She said, the jeweler.
Well, and that's it. And she's like on there like, I'm scheduling meetings with the district manager. I wish the fuck I would. Imagine being a Karen about the people who made your wedding ring. Like, to those people. Also, imagine going into a place of business where ostensibly they did everything that they were supposed to do, and they sent you an order confirmation to an email that you gave them, and you want to speak to a district manager. No.
I'm exhausted by that.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted by that. I really can't imagine behaving that way.
This is exhausting. That's the long and short of it. This girl is exhausting. And like, even watching the TikTok, we know, I can think off the top of my head, 3 girls that are exactly like this.
Yeah.
And I can definitively tell you, I would be exhausted hearing this story with them. I have one other thing before we jump into reality roundup.
Yeah.
It's a push notification I got from the Arby's app. Arby's, please sponsor Bestie Approved.
Arby's,
because
you need to.
Arby's, you were Bestie Approved, and you're about to hear why. Emma and I have a tradition that we have formed over the last 6 podcast episodes where I will drive to her house and I'll pick up Arby's on the way there every time. I get a push notification from the Arby's app last week saying, congratulations, you spent $25 on your last order. Here's $5 off your next 3 orders. And I said,
thanks for repping us, fatty, please. Oh my God.
I said, thanks, Diva. I really, really appreciate that. Arby's, please sponsor us.
Oh my God. It's like when I used to vape. They would have loyalty cards.
Shut the fuck up. No, they didn't.
Yeah. Yes, they did.
This feels like an addiction.
Oh, it very much was.
Okay.
I'm not vaping anymore, but I still feel like it's an addiction. Anyways, yeah, every time I got to the end of that card and they were like, free vape, I was like, oh my God, I'm a crackhead. Wow. Yeah, that was a dark, dark time. If anything, this baby has already given me a gift The gift
for
of
your lungs.
Yeah.
A gift of a clean
being
lung.
free of the vape.
Do you remember that TikTok that was like, let's talk about this here epidemic that is this crack pipe?
Yes. And here's the thing, I agree with all the videos about vaping and all the videos that are like, you're gonna get cancer, you will get cancer. I hear you. It's a disgusting, disgusting thing. But, like, it is also so hard to stop. If you need more information about that, go watch Tana Mojo's most recent TikToks and podcast episodes and everything.
Oh, does she get into it?
Yeah, she's like, quitting the vape is harder than quitting drinking. It's harder than quitting opiates. It's harder than quitting anything else that she's done.
I'm sure it's just as bad as quitting smoking.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, it's the same. It's kind of the same
it's
thing, right?
nicotine, so it's like the same drug, and I would argue it's harder because
it's more accessible.
Yeah, a cigarette's like you have to go outside and like it's a whole thing. A vape, you can just pick that thing up anywhere, which is half the struggle.
Yeah,
because it's like it would be so easy for me to just pick up a vape right now, and for me, I feel like being pregnant made it a whole lot easier to quit because it's like not for me, it's for a baby. But oh my God, it is so hard.
Are you ready for reality roundup?
I am.
Before we jump into Secret Lives and Mormon Wives, I want to talk about one Miss Larsa Pippen.
I'm so over Larsa Pippen.
I've been over her since 2012 when she was originally on Real Housewives of Miami.
I just saw a tweet the other day before we get to your thing that was like, the trend now is not to look like a Kardashian. It's not to have an artificial hourglass figure and fillers until you pop. And the tweet I saw was a quote tweet of that saying, "Someone tell Larsa Pippen."
But actually, please someone tell Larsa Pippen that, because she is unrecognizable from who she was. And you will never find someone that is more supportive of elective surgeries than I am. You have seen me go to Dr. Turkle's office in Carmel just to have consultations, just for funsies.
Oh, yeah. I'm super pro doing whatever you want to do to your body.
Yes.
To a point. Okay,
Sure.
Because there's also someone else I want to bring up on this point, and then we'll get back to Larsa Pippen. We just started Casa Amor in Love Island.
I know exactly who you're...
This woman is 21 years old, and she looks 35 easily because she is just filled to the brim with filler.
Right.
She has a body you would not believe. I am sure she's in the gym every single day. She's never had a carb in her life. But then she goes and fills her whole entire face with filler, and it's like no one's even looking at your body. No one is like, it is hard to tell what you look like.
I have a hard time with the filler because if you look at the drag queens from RuPaul's Drag Race, who it's always the All-Stars makeover that they do. So they have their original seasons of Drag Race, and then they get a Groupon to a 2-for-1 filler special. And it is Juvederm, and it's a lot. There's a lot happening there. Lot. And
I think the main problem is people doing it too early in life. But keep
sure.
going. But
that's the thing is, like, you were overloaded, you were filled to the brim, and like it's the lips, it's the cheeks, and that's fine. Like, get the filler, but like, you were unrecognizable from who you were. Bringing me back to Larsa Pippen. If you look at side by sides of seasons 1 and 2 of the Real Housewives of Miami and current seasons of the Real Housewives of Miami from where it's come back, she is. You couldn't tell me that's the same person.
Right. I know. You want to know who else is kind of going out sad? Have you seen Adriana Lima?
Yeah. That's hard.
Why'd you do that? Why did you do that?
Yeah.
It's so hard to watch because it's like we've lost the idea of aging gracefully, and we're trying to just not age at all. And that's not okay.
That's not. But Bravo Insider yesterday sent out a text to the Bravo Insider community saying, from public breakups to friendship feuds, Larsa Pippen's been through it all during her time on Real Housewives of Miami. Now she's serving up advice exclusively for Bravo Insiders, and she's ready to answer your questions. Hit the link to send yours in. Do you want to know who I'd rather take advice from? RFK Jr. about my health. I would rather take advice from that snake in the Garden of Eden in the Bible. I would rather take advice from Dakota about how to manage a healthy relationship.
Oh, yeah.
I would rather take advice from Jack about how to remain quiet during a podcast sometimes.
Right. Chet Hanks about how to keep your public image up.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
I'd rather...
Who is looking for her advice?
I'd rather take advice from Z-Way about how to have a take that people don't find funny.
Yeah, about how to not be charming and wonderful.
Yes. I've lost the plot a little bit here, but like, you see what I'm saying? And what it feels like Bravo is trying to do, and they've done this with a couple of other housewives. Ramona is one that I'm thinking of, where they push her just a little too hard. They push her to, like, because they've doubled down on her for the next season, and they're like, we're stuck with her. We got to do something with her. So yeah, I do not like Larsa Pippen. When we start recapping the Real Housewives of Miami, you will see how viscerally I react to her. I cannot stand.
You know who I would
Larsa
text
Pippen.
for advice? Giselle. Giselle
100%
Bryant.
I would take advice from Giselle. I would love advice
I've
from
talked
Giselle.
about her on the podcast already. I love her so much. If they sent me a text and they were like, do you have a question for Giselle Bryant? I would immediately text them back.
Yes. One last one.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather take advice from Juan Dixon about how to be faithful to a beautiful woman.
Poor Robin. Poor Robin. I love her. And he's so hot. Like, I get it. But, girl.
So let's jump in.
Yeah.
So,
Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
We're recapping episodes 3 and 4 today. Episode 3, The Book of Retribution. We open up at the Halloween party where we left off, where Taylor's screaming at Chase for being a liar.
Which he deserves.
While the guys are upstairs getting ready for their Chippendales dance.
Chase deserves to get yelled at.
Yes.
Chase deserves everything that comes to him. He can't own shit.
No.
And I thought it was so funny, actually, the like difference in vibes when they would like cut to upstairs when they were like practicing with their Chippendales guy versus Taylor being like, "You disgusting freak!
You trash! You're trash!"
I loved it. That's excellent television.
Miranda runs over to comfort Chase's new girlfriend, which I think it's impressive, and I think
Very
I like
sweet of her.
because
Yeah.
that has to take some level of security and confidence in yourself to be like, oh, I'm gonna go comfort this
That girl needs help. And I felt so bad for his girlfriend because that's such an awkward position to be in where like everyone is yelling at your man. You've stepped out publicly now, like you're on TV with him, and now you're talking about his affairs and his swinging, and also his ex-wife is there, and like it's just I can't imagine being in her position. Like that is so
I feel bad for her, and I feel like this girl is probably a really sweet girl. I feel like this is Chase's MO, is he finds a very pretty girl, probably fresh out of the church, and says, I'm gonna get her.
I have a feeling he's finding his women at church.
Oh, probably. So Layla, who dated Chase for like a month, goes to him and like says, no one wants you here, fuck you, this is not what you're trash, basically. And then he's like, don't tell me what to do. And then she goes, go talk shit about this on your podcast. And he goes, don't make fun of my podcast.
I loved that part.
I thought that was so funny.
That is so funny. Oh,
I didn't know he had a podcast, but I love that for him.
I mean, he doesn't deserve one, but here we are.
Here we are on a podcast.
Yeah.
I feel like Taylor doesn't have to get ready because she stays ready to fight.
I wouldn't call Taylor a hothead because I really do feel like she just gets really worked up. Like, I can almost commiserate with her where it's like someone says something and then...
You just can't let it go.
Yeah.
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 I agree.
And
you
that's
and I
hard.
are both that way, though.
Yeah, well... And I get where she's coming from because she goes on to say that she just wanted Dakota to be on her side.
I could not be more on her side about that. Like,
I
that is...
feel the same way.
Yes.
However you feel about the Taylor and Chase thing, Dakota has been allegedly trying to win her over this whole time and is talking to Chase and immediately takes Chase's side.
Yes.
Over Taylor.
I agree.
That, come on. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
So Miranda goes up to Chase, and this is where I really, really started to appreciate Miranda because she goes up and she goes, "We're not doing this. Get out. Get out." And I was like, ooh.
I like her.
Okay. And then if you look at Chase's new girlfriend, she either just looks cold or uncomfortable. Like, she's like doubled over in that little dress, and she's just like cold, and I don't.
I felt bad for her again. I did, because it's like, what do? You're on TV. You don't even really like. This is your boyfriend, but like,
It's hard. But she immediately storms out and she goes, "I hate him. I hate him. I hate him." And I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
But
and
also,
I feel like Miranda knows his antics, and so she was like, "No, you're not gonna do this here. No."
Yeah, but I bet she's been through it a million times.
Oh. Every single day, probably. Yeah. And I'm so glad they got a divorce. She deserves so much better than that trash man.
I agree. So then Chase goes after, what's her name? Kate. The new girlfriend's Kate. Chase goes after Kate, and Demi's poking the bear a little bit, and Chase walks by Demi, and I guess pokes her. I don't.
Here's what happened. I remember it clear as day. Demi goes, "Where's your girlfriend, Chase? You need to go after your girlfriend."
Yes.
He comes up, kind of touches her waist, and goes, "Oh, well, where's your husband?" type of thing.
Okay.
I don't...
Okay.
The way she blew it out of proportion was crazy.
Well...
Because she goes upstairs, right?
Yes.
And she goes, "Brett, Chase touched me."
No, that's not what Demi said. Demi runs upstairs and goes, "Chase put his hands on me."
Oh.
She knew what she was doing.
She knew exactly. However, yeah, I think it was, you're right. Put his hands on me. She blew that so far out of proportion.
Oh, yeah.
It's on video. He didn't grab her ass. He didn't pull her hair. He simply touched her as he passed through a tight space.
What? Okay, I think there's a place to be met in the middle here where I think he was doing it in an incredibly condescending way. I think he was like, "Where's your man?"
100%, but I think him saying, "Where's your man?" and touching her to get by were two separate things.
I agree.
I don't think he like grabbed her and caressed her and then said, "Where's your man?" I think he was getting past and then responded to her snarky thing by saying his snarky thing.
Yes.
And I hate Chase, so I hate that it sounds like I'm defending him, but goddamn, Demi.
I agree. So Demi runs upstairs. Chase put his hands on me. Chase put his hands on me. Brett does what Brett is supposed to do.
Yeah, Brett's not in the wrong for that at all, to be so clear.
Moves into action and says, "I'm going to kill someone." So he
I love a man who's a man.
I do too, actually. And he runs outside in his little Chippendales outfit, and he's screaming at Chase. Chase didn't know what he was getting into, and he is scared for his life in this moment. You can see it happening.
Yeah, I feel like he genuinely didn't know what the fuck Brett was on about, like for the first 4 or 5 seconds, and then he put it together and was like, "Oh, what the fuck?"
Yes.
You know? And I would be scared of Brett too.
Oh, 100%.
Can we talk about how hot it is that he's out there in a little Speedo, yet about to kill a man?
They were in Speedos. They were in little pants.
Oh. I thought they were in like little tiny...
No.
Oh.
No. They were in pants.
I thought it was hot that he was in his little Chippendales suit about to kill somebody.
Yeah.
I thought that was so hot.
Oh, 100%. But like also... that level of rage I wasn't expecting, but what I also didn't expect was Jordan. When Chase goes up to start apologizing to Demi, Jordan comes up and goes, take ownership, take owner, like just screaming. And I was like, what are you doing? Who are you being right now? And I have a feeling this is the reason the cops get called.
It's all the screaming. I'm sure they're in one of those rich neighborhoods, and someone was in their house and they were like, my property taxes are too high for this, and they called the police.
Yes. So the cops show up, Jesse goes outside and literally says to the cop, have you ever seen Secret Lives of Mormon Wives?
That is the moment I was dying for you to see. That's the funniest shit I've ever seen. Because she says that would have been the easiest way to explain it to you.
No, but like that's the thing is like if the cop would have been like, oh, got it, yeah. It would have cleared everything up immediately.
Yeah.
But the way she said it, like, have you ever seen it? Like, obviously that's what's happening. Like, Jesus Christ.
The funniest thing she could have said. The funniest thing. And also, like, not to dick ride her, but I feel like it's a fair question because you also have to explain why there are so many cameras there and vans and
oh sure,
you know, like that's not a typical thing either. Like you don't want them to think you're filming an orgy. You know what I mean?
Well, that, but like also behind the scenes of it, the cops show up. The Secret Lives of Mormon Lives and Real Housewives of Salt Lake City are the two shows that are like being filmed in Salt Lake City right now. And the cops have to know like some of this stuff is going to get played up. They also signed releases to be on the TV.
Oh, yeah, because their faces weren't blurred.
Like, yeah. So like let's
They knew before they got
knew.
to her front door that this was for TV. I just think because it's two men fighting each other, they have to be like,
oh, sure.
Please nobody get injured.
Please don't
nobody
kill each other.
die. Please. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
I do to some extent. And it's not like they came inside the house and were like, blah, 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 blah. They left.
No.
So it's
so
not
the cops
like...
leave. Chippendales Part 2 happens, and it's the most uncomfortable thing
So awkward.
anyone has ever had to sit through.
So awkward. Just Zach with full-on venom in his eyes the whole time. And
He was sad.
Yeah.
Like, he was sad and he was mad. Like, there were two emotions happening there, and that was very clear. I had a very serious problem with Demi saying, this is a chance for Zach to redeem himself.
I know.
I didn't like that at all.
I know.
And this is where I turn on Demi.
Oh, I already told you she's the villain.
Yeah.
She's the villain this season for absolute sure. And it only gets worse. I would also like to talk about Demi and Brett's relationship at some point. I don't know if now's the time.
Okay. I haven't seen anything yet that would tell me something's wrong, but I have a feeling it's coming.
Fast and quick, he knew her when she was 10 years old, and he was in his late 20s.
Oh.
So, yeah.
I don't know where to put that.
Yeah. Makes me think that he's less hot. He's physically so hot. Would I ever want to get to know him? No.
Was he involved with the church?
Probably. I know he's a Mormon, but...
Okay, so...
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now, you'd be shocked at how often that happens in the church.
Oh,
Like,
I've had my fair share of youth pastors flirt with me in my teenagerdom.
No, but I'm saying, like, people that know children from a very, very, very young age, and then they end up together, like, and the man's much older. Like, it's fairly common in the Nazarene church, too.
It's so gross.
It's gross. So the Chippendales dance is happening. Jordan, bless his perfect little heart, seemed like he was actually like earnestly trying.
Yeah, I thought he was so cute. Like his whole thing was so cute, and I think they all were very like still respectful. You know,
Oh, yeah.
like they weren't like real Chippendales where they were like grinding up on her and like making out with her. Like they didn't do that.
The problem that I have, and this is how it should have been handled. Brett should have brought. I'm sorry, not Brett should have brought Demi up. The real Chippendales dancer should have brought Taylor up well, no, Layla's not. So Taylor's the only single one. Taylor and Miranda.
Yeah.
Brought one of them up, and then Jordan should have brought Jesse up. Dance with them.
Why doesn't I wish they would have asked Zach to be a part of it. I feel like
I
that
agree.
would have fixed the whole problem. If they would have said, let's exposure therapy Zach by putting him in it quite
Yes.
literally.
Yes.
Instead of let's do exposure therapy by making him watch. Like that's
I thought
so
that
much
was
worse.
gross. I thought that was so gross.
Yeah.
Like put on a show for your wives. That's fine. But I was on Zach's side about being upset about it. Not about where it ends up, but I agree that this was mean.
Yeah. And the part that really you're not there yet. I won't ruin it for you, but yeah. I don't know. Obviously he overreacts and we'll get into that.
Sure.
But it was a weird thing for them to do.
It was. The whole thing was very weird, and I have a lot of thoughts because we get to
Zach's
how much
reaction.
we get to that. We get to how much did Jen know. I'm going to have a lot of feelings about that.
Everything.
I know.
Yeah.
So
It's so tough too because it's like I feel like they were just trying to have fun and they flew in a Chippendales guy
Yes.
and whatever. It's like why did you go about it
someone
like
spent
that?
some real money here. Like
Yeah. Do you think it was production's idea or theirs?
I have a feeling. So what I know about Real Housewives, and I keep coming back to Real Housewives because that's my frame of reference, but what I know about Real Housewives is like the housewives will all present ideas and production will let ideas through. Production, from what I understand, does not say do this so we can get this reaction. It's all supposed to be natural. I'll bet you actual money that Jesse and Demi said, do you know what would be so funny? And the production was like, we'll pay to fly in a Chippendales dancer. Let's do it.
100%. 100%. And okay. Yeah.
So we get to we're done with that scene. Zach's furious. That's the long and short of it. We go to Halloween with Michaela. I don't know if I fuck with Michaela.
I like her, but I don't know that I did at this point in the season.
Does she start to grow on people?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. She's kind of like awkward. Like
I agree.
Yeah, like she's not. I don't want to sound mean. I was about to say she's not like built for reality TV because I feel like the type of person I'm not either. The type of person who's built for reality TV is like instantly likable. You instantly connect with them and you get them, and that's just not really her. Like it takes some growing.
Yes.
To like anyway.
Her sisters show up at her house dressed as her and Whitney.
So confusing. I thought that was so weird.
That was what I feel like is happening here is I think the sisters are trying to get on the show.
Yeah, I think it was they thought it would be funny on the show, but it just came off as like bizarre.
Yeah, the whole thing was weird to me. Michaela opens up about her chronic health issue, i.e. eczema.
Okay, and like to her defense, she like was in the hospital for a while because it got like so bad and it was all over her body and she really had trouble handling it. And I can't imagine being an influencer, like needing to post all the time and being covered in red spots.
That's fair.
However. Yeah. The way
You're
she
sitting across from
presented
someone
it.
that lives with psoriasis.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I know.
Which is almost bar for bar exactly like eczema.
Yeah. I will say, because all I can like picture in my head right now are the videos of it, like literally all over her body.
Yes.
On her stomach, her face, her arms,
Yeah.
her legs, everywhere.
I've lived it. I get it. It's
Yeah.
hard. I
Yeah.
100% get it.
And so, but the way she presented it in season 1, I think is why I have a problem. Because it's so dramatic.
Yes.
You're not, like, stuck in a bed.
You don't have Crohn's disease.
Right.
Get off the cross.
You can eat, you can drink, you can take care of your children, even when it's uncomfortable.
Right. It's also...
I get that you're itchy, girl, but, like, ugh. I don't know. Yeah, like, I do think she should have had some kind of, like, compassion for people with chronic illnesses that are not eczema. Because, like, girl. And now she has it under control.
Thank God. And what a day the Lord has made. She opens up about being sexually abused, which I feel like that was very brave of her.
Yeah. And not expected. I did not expect that.
I didn't
from
expect
her.
the scene to go there at all. And I guess she originally told her mama didn't believe her. And I feel like that's a story that happens way, way, way too often, which really fucking sucks.
It really broke my heart to hear.
Yeah.
That is so hard, especially to know, like, the time frame that she said she was, like, 9, 10, 11, 12-ish,
Yeah.
and then she went on to have a baby when she was 16. And I think that stems from that. Because, like, hypersexuality is, like, a huge thing for kids who were abused.
Yeah.
And so... I don't know. It's just really sad. It feels like all of her adolescence was kind of stolen from her.
I agree. And that really fucking sucks. And I can separate that from, like, not knowing if I really like her right now. I think I think this was very, very brave of her.
She is a victim in that circumstance, and that's so sad. And yeah, brave to say that on reality TV when you know millions of people are watching. And good for you for standing on your shit.
Good for you.
Even when your mom wouldn't believe you. That's so sad.
Jen and Zach go for a walk.
The most staged walk I've ever seen in my whole life, by the way.
That was hard.
Like a script was written, truly.
Well, I think Jen wrote a script and Zach said, I don't want to read this.
Yeah. 100%. She knew how she wanted that talk to go, and Zach said,
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So they unpack the Chippendales dance. Jen starts by saying, I didn't know what was going to happen. And then she says, well, the girls were making jokes about it. I didn't think anything was going to happen. Wait a minute.
No.
Did you know,
true.
or were the girls joking about it? Did you have reason to believe that something could happen, Jen? Are you lying, Jen?
Yeah. And then it tears away to the footage of her getting her hair done and Jesse and Demi saying, hey, we want to run this by you. We're going to do like a quasi Chippendales dance.
Well, hang on. To be fair, Jesse said to Demi, I think I'm going to have the guys dress up as Chippendales dancers and have them do a tearaway, and it's going to be a Chippendales costume. They're going to show up in regular costumes. It's going to be so funny. That's what we saw in the flashback.
Okay, I feel like there's more to that because I distinctly remember, maybe they haven't shown it yet, but they like ask her bar for bar, do you think you guys would be okay with that? You guys being
I have a feeling that's coming
Jen and
later.
Zach. Yeah, they're not, like, she says yes. There's not like any.
Well, so I think what we're coming to is realizing that Jen has a hard time telling the truth to multiple people.
Yes, she does.
And I think this is where it's going to come out, because I haven't seen the part where that comes out yet. I've only seen the part where Demi's in the chair getting her hair done, Jen's in the chair getting her hair done, and Jesse says, "Hey, what if we did this?"
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering, or they show more later on, but there was no like question about it. Jen said she was cool with it, period. And she defends the whole way through.
Yes.
But it's like, girl, okay, I get being a people pleaser, Jen. I do. But
It's not being a people pleaser, though. This is not what that is.
Lying is not making anyone happy.
Right.
Like, you're not pleasing anyone by lying. Yeah, and I feel like she thinks that the absence of truth is not a lie. Like, if she just doesn't say anything to Zach, then it's not a lie. But it is, you know?
But it's not the absence of truth. It's just telling an abject lie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, she should have told Zach before because she knew before.
I agree.
And that's the first time to me where she's lying, right? Because she thinks just not telling him is the way to go. And I just completely disagree, especially when that's your husband. And then to go on and talk to your husband and say, well, you're just putting me in a situation where I have to pick between my job and my husband, essentially.
Well, she's saying that she feels like she has to pick between mom talk and her marriage. And I feel like what's not being said here is, I feel like Zach probably said behind the scenes, it's me or the show. Because I feel
I don't know.
Well, I feel like he blames the show for humiliating him in his marriage. I feel like I just feel like that's what was said. That's just where we're at. That they're not saying that on camera.
I didn't take it like that. I thought that it was more, she was saying, this group of women that I do this with wants to do this, that, and the other, and my husband isn't okay with me doing any of that stuff. So now I have to choose between being friends with them and making these stupid videos and whatever.
Sure.
Or being married to you.
Yeah, I agree.
That's kind of how I took it. I don't know.
That's fair.
And I can see being in that position where it's like you have one group of people saying, let's go out, let's do Chippendales, let's drink. And then on the other side you have your husband being like, you need to be a submissive woman.
Right.
Blah, 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 blah.
Right. I agree. It's hard. I don't think they should have come on this show. I think if they were already having issues in their marriage, they should not have come on this show.
And I'll say that for all of reality TV.
Oh, yeah.
All of these marriages that are on the rocks need to stay off of reality TV, especially if you're not okay with airing all your shit.
Whitney has her baby.
Yay!
This is a lavender marriage, right?
Oh, well, I sent you that video of Zach pinning Whitney's husband up against the wall, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
hard.
This is hard.
It's hard to watch. And when she had her baby, is it sick that all I could think of is that one time where she made a TikTok by her sick baby in the hospital? Do you remember that?
Yes.
She got canceled for that?
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, not much to say on that. Congratulations.
You had a
I
baby.
guess.
Love that. Everyone goes to a farm situation with their kids. Jen doesn't go because she's depressed. That Ferris wheel, being so comfortable on that Ferris wheel was wild to me because I'd rather go on Wagon Wheel Watusi. Like, what?
I don't know. I'm not a big Ferris wheel girl. That's the thing. I'll go to like Kings Island, Six Flags, Cedar Point, and like those roller coasters and be fine.
Yeah.
But fair rides freak me out because
yeah,
I
because
feel
they're
like,
just like set up and like
yeah, they're rickety.
yeah.
Ugh. I don't like. Do I really trust that you guys tighten the bolts all the way this time? No.
No. The girls all kind of agree that Jen is a little bit rotten, and
See.
yeah.
We're getting very close to a point where I have to tell you that I feel for Jen.
Okay.
Because I don't want to tell you until after Whitney goes to her house.
Okay. We're not there yet.
We'll get into that later. But yeah, they go to the farm, they're on the Ferris wheel, they all hate Jen.
Some of the girls go through a corn maze while Taylor and Miranda go to chat. And then Taylor wants to be completely honest about the situation. Or about the swinging situation. And I feel like Miranda and Taylor should have gotten together ahead of this situation and chatted and said, this is what I'm going to say on camera. And they should have compromised. That's what I feel like should have happened.
I feel like Taylor, and I kind of love her for this, wouldn't have ever let that happen. Like, she's the one that I feel like, no, I'm going to say what I want to say, and I'm going to say it on TV. You know?
Yeah.
I see that from her more than Miranda. And I also feel like Miranda is so scared of telling the truth, but, like, if you were going to come onto the show and be quote-unquote part of Mom Talk, you're gonna have to just own it at some point, girl.
Well, so this is what it comes down to. They cut to a confessional, and Taylor says, this is what we did. I'll start listing everything off. Mm-hmm. They had sex with their respective husbands in the shower and in the same bed together at the same time. They blindfolded each other and guessed whose husband they were kissing. Mm-hmm. Then they basically filmed a Girls Gone Wild scene.
Yeah, like, nothing crazy. I also don't know if she's telling the real juice of it in that confessional either. Because she didn't say it in the original TikTok. She's not saying it in any conversations. I don't think she would go on to say it there either. I think we're getting the tamest version regardless.
I'm okay with this version. Honestly, like if this is what they're this is their business that they can share or they cannot share. I feel like they just need to be
I've always felt that way.
Yeah. They just need to be on the same page about what they're sharing. I think is the long and short of it.
For sure.
And what it comes down to is Miranda was embarrassed, and that's fair because the
especially
Mormon,
coming from the church.
Yes. Yeah. The church makes it hard to be completely honest about this stuff because there's so much stigma put around this stuff. If you want to swing. If you want to have 100 different partners, I don't care.
Right, but John Smith does.
But John Smith cares. Joseph Smith.
Oh.
Joseph Smith, yes.
Yeah. Whatever.
You're going
Mormon.
to outer darkness.
I'm not Mormon. I don't know his name. Jay Smith.
The way they leave it, I feel like Miranda actually wants to fix things and Taylor actually wants to fix things. And what I appreciate is I feel like there's a genuine friendship there and they want to get back to that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Chase being out of the picture really helps with that for them. Like, Miranda getting that divorce is
yes.
Definitely key in them ever being friends again. I did think they were both like pretty mature about the conversation. Like Taylor wasn't dragging out everything she could from Miranda.
I agree.
Like she
was respectful of the boundary. Yeah.
And Miranda didn't like fly off the handle about her reputation or anything like that.
Right.
I felt like they were both kind of like cool-headed.
Well, I like where they ended that conversation.
Yeah.
I felt really good about that.
Yeah.
Michaela goes to see a sexual trauma specialist, and couple things. One, I didn't know that this was like its own specialty. Bless you.
Excuse me.
I didn't know that this was its own specialty. And I also feel like this lady is really, really good at her job.
I felt the same way. She made me feel safe through the TV.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, she definitely did a good job of, like, making it known that Michaela was in a safe space and she could share her truth and she would be heard.
Well, and she was also like, call it out. Say how you feel.
Yeah, put a name to it.
Yes.
You know, and that I think is really powerful, especially even outside of the church. I feel like women are always told to kind of like push it down. What you feel is dramatic, what you feel is not real. La da 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 da. It's all in your head. So I think that was really good to have on TV, especially with like teenagers watching, because I'm sure teenagers love this show. And
well, I also, having it on TV, period, but like I feel like filming it is incredibly brave because you have to reckon with a lot of this, number one. Number two, you have to know this person may or may not see it.
And their family and the people who defend your abuser.
Yes.
And
the
you
church
have to stand in the face of
mom.
all of them and be like, no, this happened to me and I was hurt by it.
Right.
And still am
right.
hurt by it.
And it's like, I will give that to her. So what she is doing had to be a very scary thing to do. I'm very proud of her for doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, let that man try to touch her. I'll be in Utah in 2 seconds.
Let's go to Utah. Whitney is at the house with her baby. Taylor and Macy show up to visit.
It's very like mom's stuck at home because the baby's brand new and she wants all the tea.
They start talking about the chaos from the Halloween party, and this is where Whitney realizes, I miss this life.
Yeah, I feel like that was kind of when she decided, like, I need to be in mom talk.
And part of me is okay with that.
Listen, if you want to make your money on TikTok with 5 other women and have fun, I think you should do that.
Yeah.
Especially with the amount of money they're pulling in.
Well, but also, she was part of the original Mom Talk, and like there's
she's an OG.
Yeah, like it's fine. Like I don't know if I like her, but like I remember last week I said I don't like her. I don't know if that's gonna change. I don't know if I like her. I'm warming up to her.
I've finished the season and I still I don't love her. I just feel kind of like
She might be middle of the pack for me. I don't love her, but
there's one moment, and I already talked about it kind of, where I really do respect her and like see her as a good friend, but otherwise she's just kind of neither here nor there for me.
We'll get there. Jen and Zach are in a very, very dark place, and Jen's pregnant.
Yeah, it's rough. It's really rough.
Jen is having a crisis of conscience, I feel like, because she starts talking about, I'm not the person I want to be when I'm bringing a baby into this world.
100%. And I think she's self-aware that, she's dealing with drama that's not age-appropriate for her. Because we're talking about lying and hiding things from your man, who's your husband and father of your children, not just your little boyfriend.
I agree.
And I think and I respect that about her. I think she's self-aware that she's lying to her friends and hiding things and isn't where she wants to be. And that's good. I don't think you can ever improve if you never realize that you're not where you want to be. You have to realize that there's room for improvement to ever improve.
Where I want her to be is not on this show.
Really?
As of now, yes.
I don't know how I feel. I do think she ideally, for everyone in her life to be happy, I do think she has to step away from all these women because she needs to live a more, I hate to say it, Mormon life than the rest of them, because I think to appease Zach and to bring their kids through life the way her husband wants her to and all of that, if she really is committed to that, I think she has to step away from all of this. However, I will say I knew Jen before I knew Taylor because of her dancing on the counter for her baby videos. I saw those on TikTok like years and years ago.
Oh, okay.
And like, she never gave that to me. So unfortunately, I think a big part of it is that I think a lot of her problems stem from her and Zach not being a good match in the sense that, like, she wouldn't have had to lie about the Chippendales thing. She never would have had the crash out in Vegas. She never would have had all of these issues if it weren't for the ideals of her husband.
I agree.
And I just don't think they're a good match. I feel like either she needs to get a divorce, which I don't see happening.
Nope.
Or she needs to step away from these girls because these girls and her husband have very different ideas of how she should be living her life.
I agree.
And it's sad. It is.
So that's the end of episode 3. Episode 4, The Book of Taboos. I had a lot of ups and downs in this episode. I'm going to be very real with you.
You didn't know Layla had ever had an orgasm?
No.
They talk about it in the first season, but it's like very...
I don't remember the first season, I'm going to be honest. Like, that was a
fever dream. I don't remember what Whitney did.
I want us to go back, like, after we finish the season 2, I want us to go back and, like, rewatch season 1 because
season 1,
I don't remember any of it.
I know, this is embarrassing. I know that Whitney did a whole bunch of shit, but I don't actually remember what she did.
I feel like I know I didn't like Whitney, and that's why I opened season 2 with being like, Demon Monster Whitney is back.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't remember any of it.
But I did remember that Layla had never had an orgasm because, like, look at her. Why does no man do it for her? I do think she's talked about it a little bit. I don't think it's all just the men she's hooked up with. She said that she has, like, a lot of internalized guilt around sex in general.
We get to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like, I kind of get that.
Taylor, Michaela, and Macy go to brunch. We find out Dakota. I don't know if we find this out or if this is something we already knew. This is the first time I remember hearing it. Dakota's newly sober, so Taylor felt like she had to check on him after the whole thing was said and done at the Halloween party. Yeah. And I feel like Taylor is working on herself, and I feel like she's becoming more self-aware, which I really like about Taylor because I think she's very different from who I remember her being in the first season.
100%. I think that she's a more mature version of herself this season than she was before. She's not making so many excuses for herself. She's standing on what needs to be stood on and admitting when she's wrong more, which I really appreciated. I liked to see that she was going to couples therapy with Dakota to try to make amends with him. I thought that was very mature of her. I think that's mature, but I have a problem with her psychiatrist being the couples therapist because I think that's a conflict of interest, number one. I think, if anything, I hate to defend a man, but I think it's unfair to Dakota. Because you have a psychiatrist who is, like, your individual psychiatrist is kind of like on your side, a team player for you. They want to see you do better. They want to see you improve, and they're like biased towards your mental health. And so, like, it's just not really fair because I feel like how can Dakota's side be heard? I agree. I don't know. And that is weird. Macy brings up that she got a Sinner Sunday confession that someone hooked up with Brett while Demi was on a trip. I don't know if I believe it, but I don't know if I don't believe it. Yeah. Like, I mean, obviously I see kind of how it shakes out in the end, but you never know the real truth, obviously, because it was an anonymous thing. But I just feel, because, like, the only time Demi was away was for Vanderpump Villa. And so that's when they were saying this must have happened and la la da. I don't know. We'll see how this goes because this comes up towards the end of this episode, which I feel like is a cliffhanger into the next episode. Yeah. It doesn't really come to a head until the last 5 minutes of episode 10. Can't wait. It did not shake out how I thought it would, ladies and gentlemen. Did not.
Jen goes to Miranda's house because I feel like Miranda's the only one talking to her at this point.
Yeah, I like the idea of Jen and Miranda being friends because
Do you?
in the sense of like what I said before, where I think Jen and Zach are not a good match, I think Miranda could be a great example of like how she could be happy and not married, maybe.
Sure.
And let me just clarify. I understand that Jen and Zach love each other. I'm not saying that they don't. What I'm saying is she's an emotional wreck, and I think part of it is that she and her husband don't get along. That's all I'm saying.
So this brings me to the only thing I wrote down about this scene. Jen is miserable in her marriage, and she calls it spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
Which is so dramatic.
Like, you're miserable in your marriage. That's okay. Because she brings it back to, like, I feel like I'm not close to God anymore. And, like, I get, like, someone who came from the church, I get that that's hard. Those two things aren't related, babe.
No. And I think it really comes back to they just aren't talking about their actual big issues.
Yes. They're not compatible.
She and Zach. That's what I'm saying. Like, she could be so happy on her own, and I think Zach could be happy on his own, and I think they would be wonderful at co-parenting. Mm-hmm. I think that they could definitely figure that out. I don't think either of them wants that.
No.
I think they want to somehow make it work,
Yes.
and it's just not working.
I agree. The boys go golfing.
Yeah. What did you think about this scene where Zach is like trying to be big and strong?
I didn't even take it like that. Zach wants to confront the guys about the whole Chippendales thing. Mm-hmm. And I thought his approach was very, very, very healthy and very good until he said, "You touched my wife without consent."
That's what really got me. When he treated it like sexual assault, he lost me. I was like, you are not this big macho man who's convincing Brett that he committed a crime.
Well, I don't even think he was trying to do that. Because he said, well, if I want to be petty, he said, if I wanted to be petty, I could say this.
Well, you just said it on camera.
Yeah, babe.
So like
You just said it, number one. But what I will give Brett and Jordan is that I think they navigated that landmine pretty well.
I think so too.
Mm-hmm.
I think they all kind of kept a cool head. I mean, even Zach to a point kind of like kept his cool. No one was like screaming or anything.
Well, because I think in this situation, you have three rational people talking to each other. I
wouldn't call Zach rational.
I think with the guys he is.
I think his opinion on the Chippendales thing in general is not rational.
That's fair.
You know,
I think he was handling this moment rationally, maybe. Then?
Yeah,
okay.
I think if that's gonna be your opinion that your girl isn't allowed to see men dance, then you handled it well.
Sure.
But it's just I can't believe that's the hill you're willing to die on.
But here again, we find ourselves in a situation where Jen has told Zach a completely different story than everyone else knows, and the guys are all calling it out. And what I really appreciated about Brett was the way he said, you need to at least be open to this being a possibility. Mm-hmm. And Zach is still like, well, if I find this out, it's really going to suck. Babe, you found it out before. This is not the first time you're hearing my wife is a liar, basically.
Right. I will say, so before he talked to Demi and Jesse, who are the wives of Brett and Jordan. Mm-hmm. So it's like, from his perspective, is this just a united front against Jen, or is this true?
That's
you know what I mean?
I can see that
because they're not like separate from their wives in my mind. Right. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Now he's hearing it from both sides, and so I feel like that's when he starts to be like, okay, Jen definitely knew, which she did.
We go to a scene of Taylor just driving in her car But let me tell you something. Taylor is wearing this Go-Yard bag out. She is.
She loves that tote.
She loves that Go-Yard tote. And she's either sponsored by Go-Yard or like she got it as a gift from someone she really, really loves. Like one of those two things is happening.
If I had a giant Go-Yard bag and a little baby, that would be my diaper bag too. I respect it, girl.
They have some flashbacks to therapy where Dakota's wearing a hat again. Thank God. Thank God.
That hairline needs help.
But it's not the hairline. It's the way it's like he's pulling his hair back, and it's.
Well, it's because he does have a bad hairline. Like it goes back on both sides really far, and then to make matters worse, in the middle where it has stayed where it's supposed to be is thinning. So bad.
Okay.
So it's like you have these little cul-de-sacs,
the things
and
that
then
I have.
the thinning. Yeah, I guess, but yours doesn't look as bad because it's like if your hair was thinning in the middle. That's what Dakota's hair is.
I'll kill myself when my hair starts thinning in the middle.
Ooh, a poor guy. He's like early 30s. He's not even that old.
Yeah, he's all right. Well, he's my age, but anyway.
How old am I? I don't know.
He is saying all the right things in therapy.
Yeah.
And what concerns me is, do you know who else used to do this? Big Joe, my ex-uncle.
Yeah.
Who, when in front of the people that mattered, he would say all of the right things. He would get you to believe that he was on the right path. And that is a bipolar narcissist, is who my ex-uncle is. And I believe we might have the same thing on our hands with one Mr. Dakota.
Yeah, I do think he, like, definitely turns it on for therapy and then turns it off when he's alone with Taylor.
And also turns it on for the confessionals, like, where it's just him talking to the camera.
Yeah. He comes across as very victim, very... I want my family to be together.
I want to be the good guy. And then he can't do that when the cameras are around the rest of the time. I don't get it.
No, there's a scene where, you haven't gotten there yet, but this is not a spoiler. Taylor drops the baby off at Dakota's apartment, and he doesn't have wipes.
Oh, to be fair, if you ever drop August off at my house...
But you're not his dad.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
You should... I don't know. If you have a baby, you should have a whole setup for when you're expecting them. You need to have...
He wants to live like he lives in... He wants to live like I did at IU.
Then stop having babies and stop saying you want your family together. You don't want your family together. Oh, my God. It's a whole thing. But, yeah, I don't know how I feel about it because I also think that Taylor kind of does that. I feel like they're
both immature.
Yeah. And I feel like they're both kind of manipulative people. And so we're watching them try to manipulate each other.
Which hard.
Is a lot. It's a lot to watch.
I feel like they're going to end up back together at least 2 times before they're done.
Oh.
At least.
I think it's that like kind of toxic couple where they're addicted to the toxicity of it.
Yeah.
Where they fear that if they enter a new relationship, they'll miss the drama. They'll be bored by a healthy relationship.
Yeah, I agree. We go to Demi's sex party.
Loved that, by the way.
I loved it. I hated it. And here's the thing. So they found the one sex coach in Utah to come to this party.
That poor woman.
Bless her heart, because aside from her day-to-day job of dealing with people in Utah, of all places...
Trying to have sex with each other. Oof.
Right. She's like, okay, I guess I'm going to go on TV now. And she shows up to Demi's house where... They can't just be cool and mature about it. That's the problem that I had.
Yeah, they're very like giggly and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And when they're doing the like exercise of it all, when they're like playing with the toys and whatever, finding what feels good for them. no one is taking it seriously.
Right.
And it's like, why did you come to this to be awkward and weird?
Right.
I don't
And
know,
like
get
there's
into it or get out.
To be fair, there is some there's you have to laugh some of that off. You have to like get through like the
Yeah.
giggles of it all. But
For
like
sure, but they just seem like
they couldn't get out of
middle
it.
school.
Yeah.
You know, like they were just learning about sex.
Right.
It was so weird. I don't know. Maybe it's just how it was edited. I don't know.
It probably was a big part of it, but I'm shocked and honestly kind of pleasantly surprised everyone
Actually showed up.
showed up in lingerie.
Yeah.
Like everyone looks so good.
Stunning.
Like-
Yeah, really good.
And it wasn't like you'll get to an episode when we recap the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City where they all have it's Jen Shaw's piece of shit garbage whore lingerie party is what she calls it. And Lisa Barlow shows up in head to toe, like might as well have shown up in a burqa, but it was like flannel pajamas.
Oh my god.
And these girls, who I would argue were much more conservative than Lisa Barlow,
Yeah.
showed up in real lingerie, and they all looked incredible.
They really did. They all looked good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Loved it.
During the party, the dads are doing dad talk.
Yeah, I mean,
That's fine.
Listen,
That's
I'm glad they
fine.
all get along. I really
I
am.
agree, yeah.
I think that would be like really a rift if a lot of the men had problems with each other, but
Right. But then the part that actually it was hard for me to watch this part. Layla can't comprehend that sex should be pleasurable for her too. That actually made me sad because they were like, what feels good? Because her answer to like the what do you like question was, I like seeing my partner feel good. And I think it was Demi asked her, no, what feels good for you? And she said, what do you mean? And that made me really sad.
I think sex has been such a problem for her in her life. And unfortunately, even outside of the church, like in society, that's just like not really something you can talk about. Like, you're not going to make a TikTok and be like, I really struggle feeling good about sex. Like, that's just not really something.
Okay, so here's my question. Do you and I just have a very healthy relationship with sex? Because when you and I talk about this kind of stuff, I don't feel like we get weird about it. Like, do you and I just have a healthy relationship, or like, are we weird?
No, I think that, I don't know. I think that we have a healthy relationship with sex, and also that we feel comfortable with each other. I also feel like I wouldn't ever like go online and talk about my sex life. You know what I mean?
Okay, fair.
Like I'm just not like that. Like I just can't. And most people aren't, especially if you're having trouble in the bedroom. Like you're never gonna like.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like for Layla, I just don't see her making a TikTok being like, I can't come. Like,
So we're talking about two kind of different, not two different issues, but two ways of approaching it where this is happening in her life and she's kind of honest about it with herself, but then she has to be honest about it on reality television.
Yeah.
And okay,
that's a different thing, because it's like as separated as she is from the church, I feel like she's still.
It never leaves you though.
Yeah. She still has those ideals in her, and then you have society as a whole, which is sex positive, but only to a certain point.
Yeah.
And so it's like
We're a sex positive wink.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And so I don't think she necessarily has the safe space to be like, yeah, listen, this is something I really struggle with, especially when she has this new boyfriend this season who's very, very Mormon. I feel like he wouldn't have liked that either if she was like, yeah, we're having sex, but I don't like it, you know?
They said that when they were at the carnival, or like at the Ferris wheel, though, when she
that
like
they
she,
have sex, yes.
Yeah,
but
she
not
said,
that
"Do you feel pressure to make me come?" Like she said that to him.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh. Is it because she said that on TV? Is that why she asked that? Because she said she's never come like on TV. Do you think that's why she's asking?
Maybe.
I don't know.
But like,
it is a hard situation.
I feel like a piece of shit if I was that guy. Like,
I know.
Make me come. Like,
I know, but I feel like it has little to do with him and everything to do with her.
Yes.
I think she feels so constricted and guilty about. I think she has a very Jesus is watching kind of.
Well, probably.
Thing.
But if you ever listen to Derek and Romaine is like a sexpert, and she talks a lot about how with guys it's very easy for a guy to get off in most scenarios. Yeah. For a girl, it is very psychological.
Yeah,
like
it's a mental game more
Yeah.
than anything, and I think she's losing that battle.
I agree.
Which is hard to watch. It is.
I want nothing but good things for her. I think Layla is so cool.
I
Like, I want to be her
know.
friend really bad.
I want her to be a squirt queen. She deserves it. She deserves it.
We come to the final scene. Macy got a book deal, I guess.
Okay.
Are we reading this book? Are we going to read this book?
Maybe. Only because have you gotten... No, it's the next episode. The one after what you're... So it must be episode 5.
Uh-huh.
She opens up more about what the book is about.
Okay.
And it's something very relatable to me.
Okay.
So we'll get there.
Cool.
It actually might be a good thing to talk about on the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. Because basically her son's dad died.
I think I knew that, yeah.
Yeah. That's basically the gist of it.
Okay, so she gets into this in the next episode?
Yeah.
Okay.
She like...
That
yeah.
actually would be, like, because you can relate to that a lot. You
Yeah.
should talk about that on the next episode.
When we recap that episode, I'll
Yeah.
talk about it. Because, it's actually like a very similar thing to what happened with Jack's dad. So, yeah.
I'm
I think you
also
should
willing.
watch that.
We're gonna read this book. I've decided.
Yeah, I like Macy. I really do. She was my favorite this season. She gets more airtime in the later episodes, I feel like.
Okay.
She is just such a sweet, perfect angel, but she still lives for the drama.
Do you feel like she kind of looks like Sydney Sweeney?
Yeah, I
Okay.
can see that.
Okay,
I can
because
see
like I
that.
started to see that in this episode, and I was like, oh, now I know who she looks like. I couldn't put my finger on who she looks like. They go to a
She's
restaurant.
stunning. She's
She's
so pretty.
actually very beautiful.
And she doesn't look like the rest of them. Like,
She does look different from the rest of them. She
Mm-hmm.
does look like Heather Gay's daughters, though.
she does. She does look like Heather Gay's
Yeah.
daughter. And like, I can tell that she has some filler, but she hasn't like
She hasn't
filled up
overdone
her
it
face.
though. Like
Yeah.
she's done work very well.
Yeah. Love her. Love Macy.
They go to a restaurant called Provisions, where they've also gone on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and we will be going there when we take the pod to Salt Lake City.
We have to.
I didn't like Michaela showing up and like needing to do the whole song and dance of like the seating arrangement game. I hated that.
I think people who focused so much on seating arrangements and who they're going to be next to and across from are weird. I think you're weird. I think, okay, so like I get if two people are mid-fight, like they are literally at each other's throats and you want to separate them to keep your event on track,
Yes.
to announce your book, fine. But other than that, fucking chill.
Well, it's that, and like, right now in my life, I cannot think of one person. If you and I got invited to a dinner party and I found out that I was sitting next to anyone, I cannot think of one person who I'd be sitting next to where I would have that reaction.
Right. Even if it's someone I don't like.
Right.
Like,
Because
I
we've
don't
all
care.
Well, we've all been in that situation. Like we have a person in our life who there's been a lot of drama with recently, and he's dead to me at this point. But if you sat me next to him at a dinner party, I'd just turn around and talk to you.
Right,
Like,
like it
it's-
doesn't really matter. And like, especially at an event like this where like, your friend is just putting this together to announce something, like, you're not gonna have to come up with conversation with these people for very long. Like, you're here for Macy.
Right.
So why are you being weird?
Right.
Ugh.
Whitney shows up, and the clout conversation starts up again.
Again, they're all there for clout.
Right.
Every single last one of them.
Right.
Including Taylor. It was started for clout.
Right. Whitney, though, I feel like I like how she's approaching trying to get back into the group where she's not going too hard. She does come off a little desperate in her confessionals. I'm not going to lie to you.
She is kissing their feet a little bit, but I feel like she has to.
Yes.
To
She's
get
kissing
back
the
in
ring a
good
little bit.
graces.
She's friends with Taylor. She's like,
She's being
trying.
friendly with everyone.
Yes.
She's not letting really any of the conflict stop her from being nice to everyone, which is the right strategy.
100%. And so I think she's doing the right thing in this scenario. We start to talk about the book, and then we find out Macy's dad gave her a journal when she first found out she was pregnant. And this is kind of what sparked the whole thing of like, I'm going to write down the good days, I'm going to write down the bad days, and everything in between. And
yeah.
And I think that's kind of cool. And then Taylor was super, super supportive, which I really, really did like to see because I don't think she would have been this person a year ago.
No. But did you see Demi's fucking face?
Yes. So Jen gets up to hug Macy, and they cut to Demi, who is just rolling her eyes, and she hates.
She's so mad. She's so mad. Keep this in mind as you keep watching how mad she looks.
Yes.
She is so weird. She's not friends with any of these people, I'm telling you.
Well, the thing that I couldn't figure out, is she mad at Jen getting up to hug Macy, or is she mad at...
She's mad that Macy got a book deal.
Okay, so...
She's mad that anyone gets anything that wasn't offered to her first.
Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just wait. I cannot wait for you to see the fall of Demi.
I can't wait. So Macy announces that she's also doing a celebrity pickleball tournament in Arizona, which I have a feeling celebrity is a word we're using very loosely.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It's like on the show, like when she does it, and there's another host there, because she's like hosting it, right? She's like announcing. There's another one there who's allegedly a celebrity too. I cannot for the life of me. If I recognized who they were, I don't remember it, which means they are not like of a celebrity.
Well, that has to be coming up in the next episode, so I actually, I can't wait for this. And then the girls decide to do a truth box.
Oh, because they always go over so well.
So they all throw in their little cards, and they're all pretty inconsequential until we get to Taylor, who opens up the card that says, I think Jen is fake. And that's where the episode cliffhangs.
Right. And I mean, obviously we get it. Jen has not been telling the truth to everyone. She's kind of spiraling out. Like, I don't know. She's like, I don't know. You need to watch the next episode because it's just T.
I can't wait. Well, dear listener, that brings us to the end of the episode. Thank you for listening. We love you, from the United States to the United Kingdom to Ireland to hopefully Italy soon.
Please listen to us in Italy. We want to go to Italy.
Listen to us in Iceland. I really want to go to Iceland really bad.
Yeah.
There's also... I was watching a YouTube video about Singapore and their airport. I want to visit the Singapore airport really bad.
Kenny's been wanting to go to Singapore forever. Apparently it's like really cool.
Yeah, a concept is Singapore Bestie Approved.
We'll have to see. It kind of gives me the vibes of Dubai, which is a topic for another episode. Anyway, we love you.
Share us with your
next
messiest
time.
friend. Follow us everywhere. We'll see you soon.
Mwah.